An excerpt from Subjugate the Cosmos by me, Jon Zaremba. Again, as if functioning independently from the rest of your physiological faculties, or perhaps functioning altogether metaphysically, your clairaudience astounded me. You heard what your neighbors, what even SETI, regardless of their desperate pleas for cosmic acceptance, could not. It was a sorrowful sound, a vibration of many voices collectively wailing, and although you had yet to witness its origin, you knew the sound was transmitted from the blackest depths of some unknown galaxy. Your bare feet obeyed your ears and followed the vibration outside onto your darkened and otherwise quiet street. If it existed, the wind was silent against the skeletal trees' crusty brown fallen leaves. Although the mournful chorus echoed throughout the empty streets, the nearby dogs remained silent and their homes darkened. You were certain that your mind alone was tuned to the disconsolate frequency. The sound coerced you onward, beyond your neighborhood and into the adjacent forest. Through spiderwebs and prickly vine-like branches you pressed onward, stumbling over crumbling logs and mossy stones. The bleeding soles of your feet reminded you of your palm. You held your palm against the moon's pale radiance. A line of red trickled from the fate line down your forearm. The pain would have seemed severe if you weren't also bleeding from so many other competing wounds. Nevertheless, you did not long to return to the comforts of your bed. Even if you desired to do so, you could not retreat. The only escape from this succulent suffering was to discover the source of the doleful serenade. At the farthest edge of the forest, above the vast acreage of gracefully rolling cropland birthed by the trees, you witnessed an organized sequence of dancing, multicolored lights, the luster of each glowing and dimming with the fluctuating timbre of the coercing sound. It seemed to you that each light represented an individual voice of the chorus. You were as relieved at the sight of what lurked above the field as your boss had been when she ended your employment, as I previously explained in this premonition. The unattainable expectations you posed for her organization were like a ball and chain bound to her ankle. The inverse had been true for you. Excellence was never demanded of you by her or anyone. Instead, the low expectations of existence had turned the entire planet into a peculiar sort of ball and chain itself, one that shackled and shackles your spirit. This unearthly, sorrowful sound you pursued signified your right to sack the earth. Watch it empty its desk into a cardboard box and struggle to carry it through the revolving door on its way to the universe's dimly lit parking lot.
I've seen enough of your little world. The yonder beckons,
you proclaimed as you stepped beyond the tree line and onto the field of silently swaying wheat. Now imagine the sensation of a hot shower on poison ivy-infected skin when the rash is at its absolute peak of pus-seeping irritation. More profound than mere itch relief, the high-pressure scalding is so ecstatically pleasurable that it nearly causes pain as it rescues you from an utterly consuming, nagging anguish. When the seductive sound tickled your eardrums at close proximity, the chorus of the saucer-shaped fleet harvested from you an even more extreme sensation of rapturous salvation. Your feet froze as the rest of your body trembled in awe. Through teary eyes, you watched the fleet of innumerable discs hover closer, each emitting a differently colored light from its underside. The field was illuminated by every imaginable color, and some that seemed inconceivable on Earth. Earlier, I said that this part of your experience was completely lucid and free from ambiguous interpretation. Well, this particular bit regarding your perspective and size caused you considerable confusion. But don't worry though, when you eventually experience this, It will be a distress-free form of mystification that you'll likely consider to be curiously pleasurable. Give me a moment, let me explain. The discs seemed to become smaller as they were lowered from the blackness of night until they hovered erratically around your head and shoulders like a swarm of multicolored, iridescent hummingbirds. Initially, you thought the saucers to be the size of saucers, like the type made for teacups. This is how I interpreted your perspective as well. I laughed at your laughing at the notion of shooing them away as one would pesky insects. You were not pestered, though. Although the sound of their chorus did not diminish in proportion to their size, its frequency did, however, change in timbre to express a less sorrowful and perhaps more melancholy sentiment. The transposition harvested a profound euphoria from your senses until, as if at the sound of a crash cymbal, your body, your being, was transported aboard something or one of them or all of them. Honestly, I'm uncertain exactly where you were and will be taken.